happy Wednesday. I hope you're having a great week. If you don't know, we're in week 2 of our new series called The Storyteller. And it's all about Jesus and the stories he would tell. In other words, they were called parables because they had a message to be heard. There was an underlining meaning to the story Jesus was sharing. And we're going to lean in and learn about a new story that Jesus shared in the Word. But I have a question. Do you love parties? Do you love going to them or hosting them? I love being around a group of people. Whether that's having people over for a cookout at my house or going to a birthday party or celebration, I love the feeling of what a gathering can feel like. But have you ever had a situation where you hear about a big party that's coming up, but you weren't invited? That happened to me, and it was devastating, and there's been times where I always look back and make that feeling of being unwanted or being left out. But there's a story in the Bible where a group of people thought they were the left out crowd, but Jesus had a different idea, a different ending to happen. See, we're going to look into a time where Jesus was at a table. He was having dinner with some friends. And it goes into this story about a great party this man was going to host. So if you want to lean into and grab your Bible, we're going to be jumping into Luke chapter 14. We're going to start in verse 16. And it says here, "But he said to him," Jesus talking, "A man once gave a great banquet and invited many. And at the time for the banquet, he sent his servant to say to those who had been invited, 'Come, for everything is now ready.'" In other words, the party is ready to get started. And he says, "But they all alike began to make excuses. The first said to him, 'I have bought a field and I must go see it. Please have me excused.'" In other words, I can't make it. And another said, "I have bought 5 yoke of oxen and I go to examine them. Please have me excused." And another said, "I have married a wife and therefore I cannot come." So the servant came and reported those things to the master. And the master of the home became angry and said to his servant, "Go out quickly to the streets and lanes of the city and bring in the poor and the crippled and the blind and the lame." And the servant said, "Sir, what you have commanded has been done, and there is still room." And the master said to the servant, "Go out to the highways and the hedges and compel people to come in, that my house may be filled. For I tell you, none of these men who are invited shall taste my banquet." See, the first part of the story, this man is having a party and he invites a bunch of his friends. And we find that many of those friends started making excuses. I don't know about you, but if you've ever hosted a party and you have an idea of all the people you want to come and they just start making excuses after excuses, if it were me, I would just want to end the party. I wouldn't even want to have it anymore. And that's where the people who were listening to Jesus share this story thought what would happen. But Jesus turned a twist into the story. See, the master of the house, he became angry. He became angry because the people he thought would come to his party did not. So he sends his servant out and tells everyone. And it says here, the broken, the lamb, the lame, the blind, the sick, the crippled. That's the people he turns around and says, "Come to my party." And the servant comes back and says, "I have done those things and there is still room for more." He says, "Go out again, compel them to come in." See, what we can learn about here is, like this party, we can feel like church is the same way. Maybe you're listening to this and you feel like you're that broken, that crippled, that lame because of the choices you've made, that people are going to judge you, that you feel like you aren't invited. What Jesus says here, he goes, "No, you are invited." there's still room for the party. There's still room for more. And maybe you're listening to this and you already are a part of the party. You're part of the Jesus party we have. And that's great. But now be a messenger. And we're meant to go out into the cities. We're meant to go out into the streets and into our communities and into our friend groups and say, hey, there's still room here. And I want you to be invited because Jesus says you're invited. I don't know about you, but I think the reason that the crippled and the blind and the lame and the sick were hesitant on coming in is because they felt like they weren't important. They felt like they weren't worthy to be a part or step into that party. But Jesus says that's opposite. That you are worthy, that you are important, that all lives are important and they are worth being filled in this room. And there will be people to make excuses and turn away. But we are to continue to go out. And so if that's you, I want you to know is at Jesus' party, there's room for more. There's room for you at the table. So what are you going to do about it? Maybe you're listening into this and you've been hesitant on leaning in, fully investing yourself. And I would invite you today is that Jesus wants room for you at the table. He wants room for you at the party. So I would love for you to reach out to me and what does that relationship look like? What does it look like to be fully invested into this life with Jesus? Maybe for another group of you and you already say, I'm already invested. I already love Jesus. I love my relationship with him. Well, that's great. But there's more work to be done because like this story, there's still room at the party. And it is our jobs to go out and tell people, come in. There's room to be filled. So, what can we learn? There's always room for more. At Jesus' party, there's always room for more. What are we going to do about it? Next week, we're going to jump into week 3 of the Storyteller. I hope you'll tune in with us. But I hope you have a great week. Bye, Midway students. Hey, Megan back here. I hope you had a great time listening to this message. I want to go over a couple things with you. Is one, be expected to receive a phone call from someone on our student ministry team. We want to know how we can be praying for you and your family during this time. Second is if you or your family has a need, please reach out and let us know. If your family doesn't have groceries and you're in need of food, please reach out to us. We want to help any way we can. Third is be on the lookout for your small group leaders to reach out as well. We're coming up with creative ways on how to continue to create community, and one of those ways is Google Hangouts. Yes, you already use that in schools, and so we're going to maximize on that and create spaces where you continue to have these small group discussions and continue to deepen in your discipleship process. So, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. My email is megan@midwaychurch.com. We're looking forward to hearing from you.